Hello everyone, my name is Riipley and today we're doing something very exciting. We're actually trying to recreate the police station from Resident Evil 2, which is actually my sister who asked me to do this. She asked me if I do recreations, and although I haven't done it yet really on my channel, it's definitely something that I want to do. I thought, well, let's start with the police station from Resident Evil, the remake, the one I'm doing. And I thought that, well, this would be easy, like when she asked me, like, no problems, I can do this. It's just like a recreations, it's not that hard. Well, it's a bit of a challenge, and it's definitely more of a challenge than I thought it would be. But with that said, I am actually really happy and I really do like a challenge. So I am very happy to do this, although, of course, the first thing that I did notice to be a challenge was trying to figure out the floor plan, because the police station is really big, like it's really big, and trying to fit it in the Sims, like the biggest lot that we have in the Sims is a 64 by 64, and I thought, well, this would easily fit on a 64 by 64 big lot. Well, it didn't, and I had to redo the floor plan many times and I still couldn't figure it out. So what I had to do in the end was to bring up the maps and try to like measure the rooms so I could scale it accordingly to the Sims. So I had to like hunt the tiles that I had in the Sims and try to like convert that into the map and trying to figure out like, okay, so if I scale the rooms, I think I did like 1.5 or something, and try to like figure out how many tiles does one room need, and then kind of try to figure out and like add some tiles if I felt like it, or remove some if I needed to. In the end, I think that the rooms is probably as accurate as they will ever be when it comes to like the right scale and stuff. And as you probably can tell as well, I did use as much as I possibly could. Like I cannot stretch this any further. I can't. This can't. There's no possibility for this to be any wider. So this is probably as accurate as it will ever be. I'm sure that there's some inaccuracies in the rooms, but overall I'm actually really happy with the result. And I would say that the first floor is the most like measured out correctly, and then as I moved on to the second floor and then lastly the third floor, I started to eye it out a little bit more. I felt a little bit more confident in like looking at the map and trying to, and like knowing the scale in the Sims and be like, okay, that's roughly like 8 by 6 or something. And so overall I think that the scaling is, like I said, as good as it ever will be. And then we move on to doing the exterior, which for the exterior I mainly used a model. Like I looked at a model of the police station and tried to like decorate it and paint it and do all the stuff like according to the model. But then later on I started to move in a little bit more into the game, looking at gameplays. Like I looked at videos from like an item hunt, like when you would like try to 100% the items in Resident Evil, you might use those videos for help. And that's what I did to just see what was out there, like when I did like the fire escape and when I did like the courtyard or whatever it is that is in the front of the police station. I used like item hunt videos with Claire and Leon and just try to like figure out and look around the characters. Like there's like a park bench and like some other stuff and some items, and something that I also did include is like the items that you can pick up. So whether it's like an ammo box or an herb or like anything like that, I'm trying to include them as well. So looking at those item videos were really essential, and I think that those item videos really saved this build, because I did actually do another courtyard at first, just basing off like a model that had like the courtyard in front of it, but I didn't really like it. When I did it I was like, I know that there's a lot of things missing, and I know, because even though I haven't played Resident Evil, I have watched a lot of other people play it like on YouTube, so I know how it looks like roughly. So using those item videos was like my second chance at doing the courtyard, because I really hated the courtyard and I was like, I can't post this video with the courtyard that I had. It's too embarrassing. I know that it's too inaccurate, so I really need to redo it, and I'm really happy that I did. Although that probably means that this video is a little late, but I think it's better late than being inaccurate. And with that said, of course, this is gonna be multiple videos. This is just gonna be the exterior in this video, and then later on we're gonna do... I think that the next video will be the main hall and maybe library. The main hall does stretch 3 floors, so that would take probably the most time. And then if I can fit in the library, which is also like 2 floors, I would like to put that in the next video as well. And after that we'll do the first floor, and then we do the second floor, and then we do the third floor. Possibly some basement stuff. I wasn't really gonna include the basement, but we do have like the guard room underneath the front entrance. I don't really think that I want to include more than the guard room. We'll see as we go on, and we'll see as I start to work on the third floor if I wanna like dive into the basement later on. But with that said, also like, I don't know if I wanna do that, because I know that we have like entire nest underneath the police station, and I don't think I'm gonna include that either. But we'll see. And also like, this is gonna be probably taking me at least a month to do this, like to finish this entire build. It's gonna be multiple videos, and things can always change. Just because I do something in this video, it doesn't mean that it's set in stone. Like, I can go back later on and just fix something or change something. If there is like something that I left out that I really want to say, or something that I missed, that is like, actually there's supposed to be this thing here and I would really like to see it there, so can you put it in? And I'll be like, yeah, sure, why not? So you can definitely give me feedback, and I definitely would love to have some feedback. Just leave a friendly comment and I will definitely look at it. But yeah, so things can still change. Something that I think will change is the windows. Like, I know it already that although I placed these windows according to a model that I was looking at, I think that you are more on the interior of the build than the exterior. Like, you see the interior more in Resident Evil than you see the exterior. So I think that if the windows need to change on the interior, I will change that. Like, if I have too many windows, if I have too little, that will change. I just kinda like trying to make it look as accurate as possible as when you're in the game, when you're in Resident Evil. And I also did some more creative changes, or not changes, but I took some creative liberties to make the pillars darker. Like, on the outside we have these pillars on the wall. In the game they're more like a whitey color, like a dirty white color, I guess. But we don't really have that in the Sims. The only like white swatches we have are really like stark white, like they want to be clean, and they really didn't fit in, and they didn't really have the same vibe as I wanted them to have, and they were like sticking out way too much. So I did take the creative liberty to have more of this kind of like darker, kind of brownish kind of, I think they're like a wood color, which isn't 100% accurate. But then again, this build will not be 100% accurate. That's just not possible. So if you're ever expecting that, I'm sorry, but that's impossible. Just like with the stuff that we have in the Sims, for the first place, like I can't have the exact stuff, like doing like ammo boxes and stuff. Of course we don't have like an ammo box in the Sims. We don't have like weapons, or we don't have like stuff that are maybe in the police station, so things will always change. And like changing the colors of the pillars is on the end of the wall, and I think that it just looks nicer. But I still kind of wanna make it be as close as possible, and maybe have stuff to represent other stuff. Like right now in the fire escape, I'm actually building a ladder out of debug stuff, which in Resident Evil there is like a step ladder underneath the fire escape, but in the Sims we don't have step ladders. We might have in debug, but I have never seen a step ladder ever anywhere in the game, and I've been like through debug like a million times. So I don't think we have a step ladder, and instead so I decided to build my own ladder instead, and I think it ended up looking kinda cute. And it's just there to like represent the step ladder. Like I said earlier, it's never gonna be 100% accurate. And then we also had those like oil drum things underneath the fire escape. I don't know if they are called oil drums, but it was Google Translate said that they were called that, so I don't know. But on them we also have like this black box, which is supposed to represent the like ammo box that lies there. I might change it out. I think that we have like something else that might be more similar, but I just wanted that to represent it. Like later on we're gonna have some herbs outside, and I found this like little like a flower, or like it's like a glass vase, and then there's a little flower that sticks out, and that cake comes in like a bluish purpley color, a red and a green, which is exactly the colors that we need for the herbs. So I do include that as well, which is really fun, and my sister really asked me to be like, if you can include those items, that would be great. So I did, and I'm really gonna try to remember to do that throughout the videos. And then something that I did is, originally when I built this, I put it up on a foundation. I think that just like naturally, without really thinking, I always put builds on foundations because I think it looks nicer. But then I realized that, well, the main hall, when you come into the main hall, you first go down a couple of steps, and then you go up later on when you come into like where you can go into the office, and then you have the big stairs to go up to the second floor. And I was like, am I really gonna keep in the where you go down? Because I really don't want to go down into the foundation, because that's really annoying, and it comes with like, then you have other like issues like on the side, like where the fire escape is, you can go outside, but that door should be on the ground, it shouldn't be up, and then I would have to like, would I raise the, or would I go down into the foundation, I would have to like add stairs on both sides of the door of the fire escape, which I was isn't very accurate. Then I remember that we have platforms, and although platforms are usually quite annoying, I think that they work really well here, and they're only for the main hall, so I think that's fine. So I think that you saw me raise down the foundation, and then I put in some platforms there instead. So although we do lose the detail of having a foundation on the outside, I think that it benefits the interior stuff a lot to have it on the ground, and then just use a platform on the inside. Now I'm working on the new courtyard. Like I said before, I did redo this, and this is the second attempt. And here is really where I started to use those item hunting videos to my benefit or whatever. So here we have those this on this side we have the graveyard on the other side, and on the other side we have the way to the fire escape. And in the game, this we can go through here is boarded up. And then I also had some problems, or not problems, but I had some confusions about fence, because at first I thought that it was just a brick fence around it, but then later on when I was looking at videos with Claire, when she was running through the graveyard, we have a fence like those vampire fences that we have here as well. So I was like, how do I, so some parts of the outer fence is this brick, and then some parts is this fence that I'm working on right now. So what I ended up doing is I kind of had the brick on the bottom, and then we have these fences as well, just sticking through the brick fence. This is also one of those times where it's not gonna be 100% accurate to what it is the game, and that's just partly because I couldn't really tell, I couldn't really see what it was supposed to look like exactly, and it's not very good pictures on the internet, which is probably gonna be a problem throughout the build. There isn't a lot of good pictures. So like I said earlier, those item hunt videos is gonna save this build, honestly. I'm just redoing again. You're gonna see a lot of things disappear, and then I'm gonna shade them out to other things because I am redoing courtyard at this point. Out here we had some bushes along the side of the fence, and then we also had those in Resident Evil there is these those red metal park benches, which we don't have in The Sims, but I did find these I think they're a concrete, copper kind of color, which is as close as we're gonna get. And I'm also quite surprised that we got this close to how it looks like in Resident Evil. One thing that I did decide to leave out but was all like the dead bodies that were around. Like, because in Resident Evil there's a lot of dead bodies, of course, because it's the zombie epidemic, everyone is dying. But I decided to leave it out in the Sims, mainly because, well, firstly it is like maybe dead bodies isn't the vibe, or I guess it is in this case. But also, like, I don't know what I would exchange it for, because obviously we don't have dead bodies in the Sims or anything like looks kind of similar. So I don't really know what I would put instead. So if it does look kind of empty sometimes, it is because we are missing the dead bodies, which the dead bodies actually take up a lot more space than we think. But if you ever look at this, it's like, oh, it's quite empty, it's the dead bodies. Yeah, they are missing, that's the problem. And here, in the graveyard, I did 8 graves. In Resident Evil, it is 12, but I only did 8, mainly because can you just fit 8? And that's also the same thing, like with the scaling. This is a lot smaller than it is in Resident Evil, so you kind of have to leave some things out, especially outside. I think on the inside we won't really have that same problem, but I think that for scaling purposes, I think that the graves would be way too small if I try to do 12. And I mean, I don't think it's the end of the world if we're missing 4 graves. And then as we move on to the other side, you can see me here placing those red herbs. And then we're just doing some of the landscaping in here. This is the way to the fire escape, which you can see there in the corner. Then we're just doing, it's not too much over here. There was just like some like a wheelbarrow and a container and like some park benches, so it wasn't too much over on this side. Again, the dead bodies does take up or fill up some of the space, so we are missing some dead bodies, but otherwise it was quite empty over here. And something else that I was quite surprised about is that there are 4 wheelbarrows on the outside, which I just feel like, what police station does need 4 wheelbarrows? I mean, I guess they came in handy during the zombie epidemic, but otherwise, I don't really understand the point of having 4 wheelbarrows at a police station, but it's a game. I mean, it doesn't really matter. And also, I'm really gonna try to say Resident Evil and The Sims, because I feel like I just wanna say the game, because I understand if it's The Sims or Resident Evil, but of course you guys don't. So if you ever get confused, then I'm sorry, but I'm really gonna try to say Resident Evil or The Sims. Now I'm just putting in those blue herbs as well over there. Then on this side we just had a park bench and a container, and then we had some like air cons on the wall. And I'm working a little bit more on the fire escape. The fire escape is something that I kind of came back and forth to a lot. Then we had some like electrical stuff on the wall here as well. I changed out, I had that kind of like water like sprinkler system at first, but then I realized that we got some stuff fixed to living that I could use instead, some like electric stuff, and I thought it looks a lot nicer. And then this wheelbarrow, in Resident Evil there is bolt cutters in here, but we don't have bolt cutters in The Sims, so we used a wrench instead, which I think worked quite well. But with that said, we're about to jump into the tour, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe, and if you're watching this at a later date, there should be a playlist in the description below, so check that out as well with the other videos on this build. With that said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all very soon. Riipley out.